Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am going to be doing a full face using all Morphe products. So as you guys know, I did go to the Morphe grand opening here in Tampa, and I did go see Jaclyn Hill. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I will post it up in the cards for you guys to check out that video of my experience and basically my haul of everything that I got and also the items that I won. And I don't know if you guys saw that Morphe recently came out with their new foundation, which has been quite a bit of talk in the beauty community. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up and try it for myself. So I went to the store. I was gonna get it online, but online the shades kind of looked really funny. So I went in store, and actually when I went in store, the shades did not look as bad as they did online. So I went and online you can like kind of do a shade matching, and the shade that it matched me to looked really funky online, and especially like the model looked really like green and ashy at the same time. It was really weird. And I'm very golden, have a lot of yellow to my skin tone, and a little bit of orange too, but it's mostly like more yellow than anything. So I decided to go in store and get matched instead to the two shades that online was telling me that I was, and also see if anything, like if I was a different color. And the girl there was really helpful. I forgot her name, but she was really nice, and just kind of explained to me how to match yourself best with this foundation. So basically one of the things that she told me was that since it is so full coverage and it is so like highly pigmented, like it's just very rich in pigment, which is why it makes it so full coverage, you really have to make sure that you get the right shade, because even if you blend it out, you'll be able to tell because it's just pure pigment. I know a lot of like YouTubers were having a hard time with it, but I wanted to try it out for myself and see what I thought. And I thought that I also would film a Valentine's Day inspired makeup look. I'm gonna try to be as fast and brief as possible, just because it's gonna be more of a talk through video. So I've already washed my face and moisturized it, and I'm gonna be using the Pixi Beauty Rose Oil Blend Nourishing Face Oil, just because I know this foundation is a little drying. So I'm just going to make sure that my face is nice and moisturized. So I'm using 2 drops of this oil, and then I'm going to go ahead and press it into my skin, especially in my drier areas. I already had their eyeshadow primer, which I got with the James Charles palette, and I ended up picking up their face primer, which is actually really small in comparison. It only brings 0.67 ounces, and I think this is $12 if I'm not mistaken. And I ended up getting the Revitalizer one because the smoothing one felt really yucky on my skin. It was like, it wasn't even silky or like that typical silicone feel. It was like almost slimy. So this is the Revitalizer, and the way that the girl described it to me is almost like as if it's giving you a like fresh like splash of water is what it feels like, and it actually does. Like you can instantly feel your skin being nice and moisturized. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use the eyeshadow primer as well. I think this retails for $10. And I've tried the eyeshadow primer a few times. It's not my favorite. It hasn't replaced my Urban Decay one because it is a little greasy. And then I picked up their eyebrow pencil because I realized I didn't have their eyebrow pencil already. So this is in the shade, this is their micro brow pencil in the shade Latte. So it has a little spoolie on one side, which is actually a really stiff spoolie, so be very careful not to rip out your eyebrow hairs. So I'm just combing my eyebrows the way that I like them. And then it has the pencil on the other side. And in the store, it felt really dry, and it is more of a drier formula, but you don't have to press down as hard because it's very pigmented. I believe this retailed for $5. So I'm gonna do what I always do with my eyebrows, which is outline the bottom of my brow first, then I outline the top half, but not like from the front part, just like kind of midway. Do my arch, really define that tail, and then just fill in the other spots. So this is one eyebrow filled in, and I am gonna clean it up with some concealer in a second. It is a little light, but the other shades were just too warm toned for me. And then the other one that wasn't too warm toned, that was darker, was way too dark for me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go with the flow. And honestly, I don't mind lighter eyebrows, especially with my blonde, So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eyebrow and then I'll be right back. So both my eyebrows are now filled in, and I did go ahead and carve out this one, so you can see that this one looks nice and clean while this one looks more fluffy. So I went ahead and used their new concealer. This is the Fluidity Full Coverage Concealer, and I got mine in the shade C3.35. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my Morphe 224 brush to go ahead and carve out my eyebrows, and I am going to use as much Morphe brushes as I can. I do have a lot of Morphe eyeshadow brushes, but I don't have a lot of face ones, so we're gonna work with what we got. So I used to use this one for eyeshadow, but then I discovered the M167 brush, and then I discovered the Jaclyn Hill one, which I forget what it's called right now. So we're gonna go ahead and do the bottom first. And then I know from what I've heard that this concealer does dry really fast. So usually what I do is I outline the eyebrows first and then blend it out with whatever product is remaining. But I'm gonna go ahead and use my fingers and blend out the bottom first, just because I don't want it to dry out on me. And then whatever's left over, we'll use it to clean up the top. Really make sure that tail is nice and sharp. And then what I do is whatever's left over, I just take it and kind of clean up that front right there, just so that way there's not like a block or a line. So that's pretty much how I carve out my eyebrows. And then for eyeshadow, I'm actually going to use one of the palettes that I technically won at the Morphe grand opening, but I already own this eyeshadow palette, so I actually gave that other eyeshadow palette away. So this is the Jaclyn Hill eyeshadow palette, and this is what it looks like. And I did do a first impressions and a video on this eyeshadow palette, but I decided to use it for today's video to do a really nice Valentine's Day inspired look. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom on in a little bit, and we're gonna go and jump into a voiceover. So we're going to start off with a shade called Butter, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that with this Morphe times Jaclyn Hill crease brush. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that in the crease. Then I'm taking this pointed brush with the two shades called Hunt and Roxanne and applying that a little bit deeper into the crease just to deepen things up. And then to really add some nice dimension, I'm taking this pointed taper brush from the Morphe Copper Dream set in the shade called Jax, which is a little bit more of a reddish brown color. And then I'm just blending that back out with that fluffy brush from earlier. Then I'm taking some of the Morphe concealer in the Morphe M224 brush and just applying that into the crease. And I'm going to go ahead and do almost like a full cut crease moon shape. You guys can kind of see more or less what I'm doing here, and this brush was not the best for this type of technique. I probably should have used my smaller concealer brush, but it is what it is. Then I'm taking the shade Jax again on a Morphe M433 brush and applying that on the outer corner. And I have found that whenever you want to do like a cut lid type of shape, cutting the whole crease and then applying the outer corner really makes it look nice and defined, especially in the crease area. Then I'm taking some of the shade called Hilster, and I'm going to apply that onto the middle of the eye, and then taking some of the shade Crayon Apple with this flat shader brush from the Jaclyn Hill brush collection, applying that in the inner corner. And then to brighten things up, taking Sissy and Little Lady with that same brush and just applying that right on top. And this is just going to really make the eyeshadow pop. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Jax again with this pencil brush from the Jaclyn Hill brush set and just applying that on the outer corner and into the crease just to deepen things up a bit. Then taking a little bit of Enlight with this little tiny highlighting brush, and then I just went ahead and blended everything out. Took some of the darkroom eyeliner just to line my eyes, and I wanted to do more of a smokier type of liner, so I made sure it was really nice and thick, kind of applied it kind of messily, and then created a little wing that we're going to clean up later on with some concealer. And then I'm taking some of the Abyss shade with this flat liner brush and just applying that right on top, and I'm just going to go ahead and go back and forth with it to just kind of help to smudge it out and make it a little softer, so that way it's not such a harsh liner. So my eye makeup is done. I'm looking crazier than ever. So Morphe doesn't have a corrector, so I am just going to go ahead and use my Hard Candy corrector that I always use, because I know that if I don't do this, I'm gonna look ashy and crazy, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna use my JH03 brush, which is technically for foundation, because I don't have a concealer buffing brush, so I'm just gonna use this one instead. And then we're gonna use the concealer, and I really like the shade that I got because this reminds me of the ColourPop No Filter concealer. It's like the same shade. This is actually supposed to be more of a neutral shade, but I think it's still kind of yellow. The other one was just way too orangey for me. that the girl was recommending, and I like to be more brighter because she had like this little chart that told you like the concealer shades that you would be. So I'm gonna go ahead and do one side first because like I said, I did hear that this concealer does dry up really quick, so after you apply it you have to blend it out like immediately. So I always put my concealer on the bottom too. A lot of people do it the opposite way, and I've seen other people like kind of struggle with this concealer, and I'm really liking this concealer a lot. It doesn't feel too drying, and maybe that's because I used all those oils, and it blended out really nicely too. It doesn't look like it's settling into any fine lines. What I'm really curious is to see how it's gonna wear on my nose, because the ColourPop No Filter Concealer still remains my favorite concealer, but I've been using, like I said, the Makeup Revolution one because the ColourPop one doesn't wear well around my nose. So this concealer does retail for $9, and it contains 0.15 fluid ounces, which I think is a little less than the ColourPop one, but a little more than the smaller size of the Makeup Revolution. And I'm also using the concealer just to clean up that wing, since we did use the Kohl liner, just because I don't like the Morphe gel liner. I've tried it, I have it in my kit, and I use it like as an eyeshadow base more than anything, but I'm not a huge fan of that concealer or that gel liner. Alrighty, there's the concealer, and like I said, I really like the shade a lot, so we'll see how it wears. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take the foundation, which I did get the shade F3.60. The other shade that it was matching me to was F3.30, and the undertone was right, but I felt like it was just gonna be way too light on me. It'd probably be good for like my winter shade, because right now my face for some reason is a lot darker than my neck. But I'm gonna take like that much. I'm gonna start with a little bit, and the girl told me to use a brush kind of like this, and what she said was to stipple it on, and after you stipple it on, then you swirl the rest. So I'm gonna start one side at a time just to kind of see. And this foundation smells just like MAC's Studio Fix Fluid, like exactly like that. So I feel like it looks pretty good. I'm gonna just blend it down and then grab a little more, stipple it on the other side. The foundation did retail for $18, which I did think was a little steep, but when she told me that this foundation was like very like mostly pigment more than like it had a lot of pigment, that's probably the reason why this foundation is so expensive. So we're just stippling and then buffing. And yes, it does give a really full coverage, but I don't think it's super full coverage because I can still kind of see my moles there. And maybe because I used the oil and the primer, the foundation doesn't feel drying on me. It's actually giving me a nice natural glow, but I also haven't set it yet. So I guess we'll see once I set it. So the foundation is on, and honestly, I don't know if you guys can really see this, but like I feel like my neck is so much lighter than my face right now. And I know, here, let's go ahead and blend this down. I know that during the summertime, this foundation is gonna work perfectly, like the shade's gonna be perfect. That's why I chose this shade out of the lighter shade, because I just want it to be something that I can wear year round. And it really does remind me of MAC's NC45. I'm technically MAC NC44, but 45 is what I get matched to sometimes. I feel like this is just a little orange, but I still find it to be golden too. So I'm not mad at the shade match at all. And then I also picked up the Filter Effect finishing powder, and I got filter 7. So she was trying to match me to filter 9, which filter 9 was really dark and very orange, and filter 8 was even like very red. So I want to use this as a setting powder, so I went with filter 7, and I'd rather it be lighter than darker, and honestly I feel like it matches pretty well. And then it also has like a little sponge too, which is good for like touch up and stuff. I'm going to use the Jaclyn times Morphe JH02 brush, which is the brush that I use for my loose setting powder. And I kind of do wish that they would have came out with a loose setting powder versus this pressed one, because I feel like a lot of people don't really use pressed finishing powders, but we're just gonna go with the flow. And now that I'm putting this on, I really do feel like it's kind of balancing out the color. It's not making it as orange, it's making it more like my skin tone. Let me make sure I set under the eyes there. And I'm not gonna use my ColourPop powder, even though I really want to, for around my nose and under my eyes to brighten it. And I think this powder also retailed for $12 if I'm not mistaken. So it definitely gives like a really light finish to the skin. I do see it kind of emphasizing my like worry line right here. I don't know if you guys can really see that because of my lights, but I do see it emphasizing that a little bit, but it's not settling in any other lines, not breaking apart either. It does give a really sheer coverage. It's not full coverage at all, so it's not like the MAC Studio Fix powder. I'd say this would be more like the, what are they called? Almost like the mineralized powders. I would say that's the finish of it. And they feel really nice and airy. You can even see on the back of my hand, it doesn't really show up that much because it's really, really lightweight. So I do like the powder. I definitely like this powder more than I liked the ColourPop powder. Then I'm gonna go ahead and contour my face, and I'm gonna use the Debutaunte, and I'm gonna use that on this BH Cosmetics brush because I don't have a brush for contouring with Morphe, and I really have been liking this brush a lot. It kind of reminds me of the Laura Mercier one that came with the Radiant Boost setting powder because it has that little like divot, but I find that this kind of really helps to really mold to the contours of the face. And you guys saw, like, I instantly wiped that contour on. It didn't take a lot of effort either, and since it is still really fluffy, it still gives me that light contour effect like the fan brush that I usually use, but I feel like I don't have to use as much product with this brush. I'm going to use the JH04 brush, which is a blush brush, and I'm going to use the blush trio, and this is the Pop of Rose blush trio. So I'm going to use the shades Hustle and a little bit of Legendary. And then I'm going to use the High Impact highlighter. This was one of the products that I actually won. So I already had Spark in a mini size, so this is a bigger size, and this is in the shade Extra, and I'm going to use that on a JH09 brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that on the high points of my cheek. And usually I don't like this type of brush for a pressed powder highlighter, so we're really going to build this up and use it down the bridge of my nose. And I forgot to contour my nose. We're gonna do that in a second. Then I'm just gonna add a little bit of pinkiness. So I'm gonna take my Morphe High Impact highlighter palette, and this was the holiday one, and this is the Stellar Impact, and I'm gonna use the shade Aurora right here, which is this pinkier highlighter, and I'm just gonna put that right on top just to add a little pinkiness to the highlight. Ooh, that is blinding. And I'm gonna take my blush brush and just blend the blush with the highlighter. And then I'm going to take my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, which I do really like the applicator of this a lot. And I like the way it smells too. Alrighty, so then we're going to go ahead and finish off the eyes really quick. So let me zoom you guys in a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to use that black eyeliner lower lash line. Alright, and then I'm going to use the shade right here from the Jaclyn Hill palette, which is like this brownie red tone color. Take that on my JH43 brush. Then I'm going to take my JH39 brush, and I'm going to take the shade Jax right here and Hunts. And I'm going to mix both of them together, and then I'm going to use this to blend out that chip shade. Then I'm going to go back into the Stellar Impact highlighter palette, and I'm going to take the shades Trance and Aurora and mix them together. And I'm going to take that on my JH42 brush, and I'm going to apply them into my inner corner for my inner corner highlight. So then, I know I said that this is a full face of Morphe, but they don't have mascara. And speaking of which, ColourPop just came out with mascara, so I am going to be redoing my full face using ColourPop. So I'm just going to take any mascara, and the reason why I decided to do this, even though Morphe doesn't have mascara, is because they do have lashes that I do own. So you won't really even see the mascara, honestly, only on the bottom lash line. So then these are the overly dramatic lashes that I have from Morphe. These are the premium lashes. I still don't know if this style is Go On and Fake It or Smoochie, but these are the lashes. They don't have their own lash glue. They usually just sell the duo lash glue, which a lot of companies do. But I'm going to use the Kiss lash glue because this is my favorite. I've tried the duo brush on lash glue, and it just wasn't my favorite. I like the Kiss one a little bit better. I feel like the formula is just a little tackier. You don't have to use as much either. So I always wait about 30 seconds or so to let the lashes get tacky, because if you don't, then the lashes kind of slip and slide all over the eye. So if you wait 30 seconds, the glue will be tacky enough where when you place them, they'll kind of stay in place, but then they'll still be able to move around if you need them to. So you don't want them to get super dry, but you don't want them to be super wet either. So after 30 seconds, what I always do is I lift the lashes so that way they're going all the way up, almost like towards my face, because this is gonna lift the eye. All right, I'm gonna have to use my tweezers. I wasn't trying to, but these lashes are just really thick. They have a thicker lash band. Alrighty, so this is what the lashes look like on one eye, and this is the eye without the lashes. So it definitely makes a big difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on the lashes on my other eye, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty, so both of the lashes are on, and you guys can see it makes a big difference when you have lashes and when you don't have lashes. So I'm gonna take this headband off. The last step is the lips. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with Morphe's Honeymoon lip liner. I've been obsessed with their Bite Me lip liner, which is more of a brown shade, go figure. But I really like their lip liners. They're only $3, just like the eyeliners are, and they're very creamy. So we're gonna do more of a nude lip with this, just since the eyes are, they're not super dramatic, but they are pretty intense because of the lashes. So then I'm gonna use the lipstick of theirs called Cot, which is one of my favorites. It's more of a beigey pinky nude, very nice and creamy. And then finally, to top it off, you can leave it just like this if you want to, but I'm gonna go ahead and use the Morphe lip gloss in the shade Pop, which it looks like this really intense pink, but it's not as bubblegummy as you think when you actually blend it out on the lips. It does give the lips a little bit more of a pinky hue, so it's not as beige, which is why I chose this one. Their lip glosses smell so good. They smell just like the ColourPop ones. So there we go. That is that. So there we go. This is the finished look, and I'm actually really liking everything. I like the way that the foundation looks. It's been sitting on my face for probably maybe 15-20 minutes, if that. And I really like the way that the foundation looks. I don't feel like it is too drying at all, and I really think it all had to do with the way that I prepped my skin. I did use, like I said, the Pixie oil, and then I used their Revitalizing Primer, which is more moisturizing, and I definitely can see that. And I also did do the concealer first and then the foundation, and honestly I feel like everything blended out so perfectly. I also did one spot at a time, so I feel like these are just little things that I'm not, discrediting any blogger at all. Everyone has their techniques and their methods, and of course they post those videos out there to kind of show what's not working for them. But this kind of worked for me. I feel like it's not breaking apart around the nose at all. I really like the finish of it. It looks really flawless and smooth and airbrushed, and I feel like my pores are not accentuated at all. Like, I almost feel like it looks like I have no pores. Yeah, but overall, I'm really impressed with the look. I definitely find that a lot of the Morphe products are more like artistry, like in the sense that it's not more like everyday glam. Like ColourPop, I feel like ColourPop is more like their pigmentation and just even their products are more geared towards the everyday woman. While I feel like Morphe, yes, of course the everyday woman can use Morphe, but I feel like it's geared more towards someone who's a little bit more like creative and out there. And you can even see it on their Instagram page that the people that they end up like reposting and stuff usually have more like bold looks, dramatic looks. There's not a lot of soft looks on there. But anyways, yeah, this is pretty much it. This is the finished look. I really like it a lot, and I think that it is perfect for Valentine's Day, and of course you can wear this whenever you want. This is definitely like my type of look. Like, I love that pinky berry type of eyeshadow look with a nice glossy lip. like a nude glossy lip. You could do more of a bold lip. I just don't have bold lipstick from Morphe, but I really did like every single thing that I used today. Like I said, the only product that I don't really like from Morphe is their gel liner, but everything else that I've tried from them before in the past I've really liked, and even the foundation, the powder, the concealer, I think worked really well. I definitely recommend if you are near a Morphe store to get matched. And honestly, the match that they gave me online was very accurate, because this is it basically. So definitely just, you know, look up swatches, look up, if you're not near a Morphe store, look up swatches, look up videos, try to find someone that, like an influencer that is similar to your skin tone, to see if they've tried it, to see what shade they have. Those are just some tips and tricks on how to do it, and I know that Morphe's customer service is really excellent too, so they might even be able to match you if you have like an existing shade of foundation that you already know that works for you. Maybe you can email them or do the live chat with them on the website to see if they can help you be matched. I don't know if that works, but you can definitely give it a try. So anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I did already post my updated hair routine and my skincare routine. It will be up too. I know those are two of my most requested videos on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, just everywhere. People are constantly asking me for those two things, so I definitely will be sharing those with you guys. If they're not already up, they should be up soon. But if they are, they will be down below in the description bar. So yeah, thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then.